Hi guys, today we're gonna make beef tongue soup. Now it might sound kind of weird, but trust me, it's delicious. And not only that, it's rich in many vitamins and nutrients such as fatty acids, zinc, iron, choline, and vitamin B12. To make this, you'll just need a few ingredients. Of course, you'll need a cow's tongue. This one is a bit on the smaller side. It's only about 1.25 pounds. You'll also want some carrots. This is about 1 pound of carrots. I also have about 1 pound of potatoes. You can use any kind of potatoes you like. I also have 3 stalks of celery and some little onions I just pulled out of the garden. It's about 1/2 pound of onions, so if you have a large onion, that should do. We're gonna go ahead and set the cow tongue aside and start chopping up the vegetables. I'm gonna start with just kind of roughly chopping up the carrots. And now the celery, I'm gonna cut the ends off and then I'll just cut them in half and dice them up. Next thing, I'm just gonna roughly peel the potatoes. We wanna leave a little bit of skin on there just for nutrients and vitamins and such. As you can see, it's just a very rough peel, just to get a little bit off for texture reasons. I didn't do all of them just because I had some smaller ones and I didn't really think they needed it. So all this we can go ahead and compost. Now that we've got them semi-peeled, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of dice them up into smaller pieces. So I just cut them in half and then cut the halves in half. Lastly, we're gonna chop up our onions. Here we have all our ingredients, and we're gonna set this aside and move on to the spices. So for spices, you'll need a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna use pink Himalayan salt and a teaspoon of black pepper. You'll also want 3 garlic cloves. And we're gonna use about 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoons of rosemary. I dried this about a month ago, so we're gonna use some of this. We're gonna go ahead and crack open these cloves and mince it. Now we're gonna go ahead and crush this up just a little bit since they are in like the whole leaves. Now we're gonna take all of this to the stove, including the tongue. Okay, so we're here at the stove. You're gonna want a very large stock pot. You can also use a Dutch oven if it's big enough. Now this is very optional since you are gonna mix it around and get the water underneath the tongue, but I like to put a little bit of butter in the pan and let it melt before putting the tongue in there. We wanna first put the tongue into the pot. Next, we're gonna go ahead and pour the spices over the tongue. Then we're gonna add the veggies. Then we're just gonna cover all this up with water. So I covered it about 2 inches above the contents of our soup. Now we're gonna go ahead and give it a stir and then bring it to a rolling boil. Bringing it to a boil, we'll wanna have it on a medium-high heat. Also, whenever you stir it, make sure that you kind of lift up the tongue so that we can get some water under there too. Okay, so obviously we're at a rolling boil now. That just hit my hand, that was hot. We're gonna go ahead and turn this down to a medium-low heat. We want it to simmer for 2 to 3 hours. Optional, I like adding about 1 tablespoon of butter into the pot while it cooks the rest of the time. Now it's normal for the water level to kind of fall. If you do notice that and you think it's getting too low, just top it off a little bit with more water. It's been simmering for about 30 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and place the top on top of the pot and let it continue to cook. Just remember to stir it frequently. Here's what our soup looks like now. Now that everything's cooked, we're gonna remove the tongue and set it aside on a cutting board to cool down. Just enough for us to be able to handle it in order to peel the skin off. Here's what it looks like, and we're just gonna remove this skin. I removed all the skin, and then this is what it looks like now. I put all the skin in a bowl, and it's good to save. If you have chickens, this is really good to feed them. Now we're just gonna cut this into bite-sized pieces. Now we'll just add all of this back to our soup. We'll just give it a stir, and then it's ready to serve. Thank you guys for watching. If you happen to find this video interesting, or if you happen to like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future content. If you have any questions, comments, future video recommendations, or if there's another organ meat that you want to see me cook, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. Cheerio and drasta.